science, to improve principals' ability to identify and support effective science and math instruction, and to build that community of practice among science and math teachers and their principals. And that's why we have a requirement that the principals come in for at least one of these types of teacher trainings. Most of your principals have already been to at least 2 days of our training that was and so they are also required to come in at some point into this teacher training so that they can have a good understanding. Some of them already do. Divine's principal has been with us for about 5 years now, so he's got a good understanding, except for one thing that I discovered that we'll talk about later. What we are, as I said, is the Correlated Science and Math Professional Development. We have 2 weeks of summer training, so it's pretty intense, as you veterans know. And what we try to do is to model those best practices. We use a version of a 5E that we'll have a discussion about. We try to model questioning strategies, and when we don't, we have discussion about when we don't model it and when we should have. You will be using cooperative learning during your investigation, so for those of you who have not had any training in using cooperative learning, this is a good opportunity. We also use science and math manipulatives very frequently, and then we have some technology. We used to teach more technology, but we decided that that was taking content time, and that's probably what teachers need the most, is content and pedagogy, because you can use different kinds of technology if you have the foundation to make good decisions with the content and the pedagogy. So that's our philosophy in not having a lot of technology in it. And what we have is a smart microscope for you that this afternoon we'll have the training with it. The grant requires over 105 hours that's spread over at least 12 months with summer training and the academic year Saturday trainings. And the reason for this is because research behind these federal requirements is that you're not going to see a change in teacher practices unless there is this long-term, and they are calling 12 months long-term, and intense training, which would be the 105 hours also, to change teacher practice. And what we've seen, though, is different. It's more scary. We don't see significant changes in the classroom when we go in and make the observations and doing the mentoring until after 170 hours. So that summer, 70 hours, 30 years, I mean not years, 30 days plus, hours plus field trips, etc. during the academic year, and then another summer session. And it's that second fall that we really see changes in the teaching practices. Well, our model that we call the correlated science and math is not the same as integrated science, and I'll explain that a little bit later on. The correlated science and math, which is what we do, is we teach for conceptual understanding. That's why you have Laura, who is a petroleum geologist, teaching the geology, and not me. And that's why you have Dr. Browning teaching the math, and not me or somebody else. So we've got people that have that depth of content knowledge because we are teaching for conceptual understanding for the science and the math. Not rote memorization, not memorizing vocabulary, and that you're able to demonstrate your understanding in a different context, which you'll see in the instructor's questioning. We also focus on the proper language for math and science, and we frequently use the example of science teachers telling students to reduce fractions, which it's not a reduction in quantity, as Dr. Browning has very carefully taught me, but that we should be saying simplify, because kids are going to hear, or should be hearing simplify in their math class. So if it means the same thing, they should hear the same kind of vocabulary in the science class and vice versa. We use standards-based learning objectives. Primarily we're looking at the TEKS, and we're also looking at the national standards in both math and science. We also try to identify natural links between science and math. For example, ratio and proportions, etc. All of these are common in both science and in math. And we also identify the confusing language, and we give you a physics one where we see that distance refers to displacement, and as our friend Russell frequently says, meaning from this place to that place, you know, as the crow flies, versus math, which means as the trail goes. So there's a difference between distance in math and distance in science. And we started this dictionary that we've started to identify, and if you hear something in the instruction that you think is a dictionary issue, write it down in your teacher notes, so when we do the debriefing after the end of the geology instruction this morning, that we're going to be able to have those kind of conversations. Identifying parallel ideas, so in math and science you see the same kind of ideas with positive and negative numbers, whether it's math or science, so we want to identify those for the students, and we have to begin doing those with us, and we do that primarily with the conversations between math and science people. We use inquiry when it's appropriate. If you see a commercial product that says we use 5E for every lesson, you should go, something wrong. That's not what the research tells us. The research tells us that we use an inquiry model, and there's others other than the 5E, that we should use inquiry when children need to learn a concept. If they need to learn a process or a skill, a direct instructional model works better. Now, these are principles, they're not rules, so as a professional, you have to arm yourself with all of these tools and the content and pedagogical knowledge so that you're able to select the correct one for that particular lesson. For example, in an inquiry model in a 5E, there are times when you should use within the 5E a direct instruction, because children are going to be learning how to use a chart, how to present a chart. That's a process. So they would need a direct instruction about, you know, how they fill in a row or a column, or, you know, however you want the chart to be completed. So an inquiry for concepts and a direct instructional model for processes or skills. And we're going to have some discussion about what is direct instruction components, because we saw some problems with the T-test video that we looked at with the principals, that they said that there was direct instruction in that, and we didn't see that. We know that children of mix-it-up trained teachers learn more because we have controls. We know that they have significant gains from their pre-test to their post-test with the mix-it-up teachers, which in this case are in the red line, versus the control teachers. And they actually start lower because we tend to have students in poor performing districts, and sometimes with untrained teachers. The same thing with the math that we see, and it's statistically significant at the 0.001. Or mathematically, Dr. Browning, how would we say that?
0.001, teachers, how would we say that? What place is it? 1,000.
1,000. So you've already seen a language kind of discussion here. It's funded by several entities. This is a teacher quality grant from the Higher Ed Coordinating Board. We've also had funding from the Space Grant Consortium, and of course the university provides funding in a lot of ways at the university level and at the departmental level. And then of course participating districts also have a requirement to provide travel for teachers going to CAS and CAM. So let's have some introductions. Many of us know everyone, and some of us don't know everyone, and so we're going to start right over here. Jen, so if you would, your name, what you teach, and your school. And your love language. My love language?
I'm best service. Well, first off, name Jennifer, but I go by Jen. I'm not Jen Licker back there. She also goes by Jen. And I teach math 7th grade still at Lockhart Junior High. And my love language is best services, which means if you do something for me or something small makes me happy, I guess you can say, just do not hug me. That's about it. Unless you're Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, quickly.
Melissa Zulik, 7th grade science, and best services language.
She'll take hugs.
And you can hug me.
Brenda Warwick, ABS Strawn, 5th grade, elementary.
Amanda Solis at Navarre Elementary, and I will be teaching 5th grade, going from 4th to 5th. And I didn't get a sticker because I couldn't find one, but mine would be service.
Now we have one. So y'all must really love mixed because we provide lots of service.
That's why we always message you.
Not gifts, but service.
My name is Crystal Thompson, and I'm new to Mix It Up. This is my first day. I am teaching 4th and 5th grade math and science at Visa. And I did my love language a long time ago. I think it was acts of service with quality time as my second.
Okay, well, we have a printout you can reread if you want to verify that.
Well, I'm with her. It's definitely not physical touch. So
Okay.
we're good. We're good.
Well, actually, physical touch doesn't mean that you don't like it. It just means that if somebody hugs you, that doesn't tell you as much that they care for you as if they do an act of service for you. They help you edit your PowerPoint or something, like that.
I'd rather the help.
Quinn Coffee. I was 8th grade last year, I'll be 5th grade this year. I just finished moving. I'll be in Katy in Texas, or Katy near Houston. And at Schmaltz Elementary, I'm doing just 5th grade science at this point.
And he's driving all the way from Houston to stay in mixed. What a commitment, huh?
Join the club.
Yay!
Carpool. Yeah, we should have done, we.
Are you staying in town then?
Yeah.
She's gonna live up the river. He's like, yeah.
Catherine Ortega, I don't know what I'll be teaching just yet. It's either kinder or 1st grade. I was teaching 4th grade and I'm at Brooks Academy. And my love language is service.
I'm Tanya Bonilla. Hi, Toby. I'm at Brooks Academy, also a different one, and I'll be teaching 5th grade science and writing. And debt service.
Ashley Davidson, and I teach at Woodlawn Elementary for Lockhart. I taught 5th grade science last year. As far as I know now, I'll be doing math and science for 5th grade. And I didn't think the love language thing was real, but it's true. I have a verbal affirmation.
Good job.
Because apparently an attaboy will make you just do anything you want.
Great job.
So you're not a boy.
Out of girl.
My name is Alyssa Gonzalez. I teach at Plum Creek Elementary. I am a 5th grade teacher, and I teach every day. And I confess service.
Tim Marshall. I now teach at Lockhart Junior High. Today I'm teaching 8th grade math. And we'll leave it at that. Tomorrow, I don't know. And I am a toucher.
Sounds great.
Personal touch.
My name is Ashley Bruni. I'm actually going to be a first-year teacher this August. I'm going to be for 11th and 12th grade at Lockhart High School. Super excited, and my love language is quality time.
And Ashley is a former student teacher of this Ashley at 5th
So you
grade.
gotta work on the eye contact. You gotta make eye contact with the one you're talking
And you're like
about.
Ashley with my Ashley. I was like, oh.
No, that's her. She's Ashley Nicholson. I'm Ashley Bruni.
Oh, thank God we didn't.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Candace.
I'm Candace Nelser. I teach 7th and 8th grade science at Dostrom Middle School. And my love language is service.
I'm Toby Tomlin, a 7th grade science teacher at Divine Middle School, which is just south of San Antonio. My love language, I guess, is hands-on activities.
Service.
Service, okay? Whatever.
He didn't read it.
Can I speak now?
Yes.
I'm Brandon Spencer. I'm also at Divine. I teach 6th and 7th grade math and best service. I like people who stay put.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, come on.
Elizabeth Reyna. I am coming from 6th and 7th grade science to now teaching 5th grade everything. So I'm excited.
Moved from
San
middle
Antonio.
school to elementary, what a change, huh?
I was inspired.
Go ahead.
Elvira Garza, I teach at Navarro, 5th grade. As far as I know, it's science and math this year. So my love language is best service.
I'm Craig Chung. I teach 9th grade biology at Holmes High School. I think mine is gifts. And it's funny because once I got the gift, everybody wanted to change theirs, and this is the only one that has.
I'm Kim Brook. I teach at Keeling Middle School. I'll be teaching 6th grade, 8th grade pre-AP, and environmental science this year. And my love language is praise.
My name is Brianna Mendez. I teach 6th grade science. I'm at Dahlstrom, and my love language is quality time.
Marilyn Sismai, I'm in Dahlstrom as well, 7th and 8th grade math, and my language, or love language is after school.
Okay, let's start with the staff. We'll start with Rowan over here and kind of work our way around.
Sure. My name is Rowan. Most of you guys know me. I sent you guys probably a dozen emails this past couple weeks, so you're very familiar with me, or at least my email. I'm officially a consultant this summer because I graduated this May. I also got a job at Lehman High School in Kyle. So, and yesterday I bought a car. Mine has been not running the past 3 weeks, so finally I'm mobile, but anyhow, that's it.
I'm Sarah Hansen. I'm a grad student working with Dr. West on my master's in basically elementary STEM education. So I'm here to learn and to help. So let me know if you need anything.
It's a master's in interdisciplinary studies that we have in the College of Science. And it is a very flexible degree. It's very nice. That's what Jennifer Lickert did. Actually, Jennifer Lickert's name is really Jennifer. I made her be called Jen because we already had another Jennifer when she came in originally. So I'm not sure if she wants to be called Jennifer, which is...
Which one do you want?
I can be Jennifer. You can be Jennifer.
Okay, so that's Jennifer.
Now, Rob.
Yeah, and that's what Jennifer Lickert did her master's in, was MSIS. It's very flexible. You can only have 21 hours in one content area, and you have to have 4 departments and 3 colleges. So you could take math courses, which is a different department, but it's still out of the College of Science. You take psychology of learning. Sarah's taking a mixed methods course to learn how to evaluate programs using both quantitative and qualitative data, and it's just very nice. I mean, you can pretty much dictate, what coursework that you want to take. It's a very, very nice degree, but it is out of College of Science. It's not out of College of Education, so you get content coursework. Not you can take education courses, but the bulk of it's going to be in content.
I'm Denise Kern, and I am a consultant with Mix It Up, and I am a retired principal, so I will be the one that's supporting your principals. So if you have things that we're doing go ahead, kind of decision making, come talk to me, and we'll see how we can use their love language to figure out how to help it. Okay, so, and I'm glad to be upright now. I had an emergency appendectomy on Father's Day in Denver. Thank goodness I was with my children. Anyway, I'm thinking I'm way too old to have that happen. So I'm walking around like an old lady, but I'm better every day, and at least I'm here. So keep me here. Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Lickert. I was Dr. West's grad student where you are, so let me know if I can help you out. I teach 5th grade at Bell Creek Elementary in Lockhart. I just said goodbye to my son yesterday. He is in the Air Force. Racing training. So I'm pleased. But I'm here and work and stuff, so.
I'm Laura Gibson. I'm
just science person. I work in Round Rock ISD, live in Round Rock, and
And you rock.
I didn't even think about that. As a verb. Didn't, right, yeah. Actually, I met Laura. I'll give you some training on how to write grants, okay? Writing grants is about having an idea, like correlated science and math, and about networking, okay? So Dr. Browning and I got together in 06, 08. She was at Seguin doing she was a coordinator, math science coordinator over there. And then Laura was actually a cooperating teacher for one of my student teachers. And I was so impressed with her, I said, oh, come work with us, we'll have fun. And so, sure enough, we talked her into it. She's been with us and, of course, does a fabulous job in the classroom. And I actually take my student teachers out to see her. Actually, did you go to see her? Okay. Right, okay, so, and we try to bring student teachers into classrooms where there are effective teachers and to see what good teaching looks like. And I have to tell you, it's difficult to find effective teachers for our student teachers, I'm sorry to say. So it's really nice to network because we can put student teachers with you guys in case they're in your area.
Well, and sometimes it's a hit or miss with your student teacher, you're not sure. So.
Not ours.
Not y'all, but not y'all, so that's why I was happy to get.
We try to get them ready. We work them very hard before we put them in the classroom.
Hi, I'm Alexis Den. Most of y'all know me. I've emailed y'all just like Rowan has. I'm going to keep bugging you all throughout today and the rest of these 2 weeks. That's my job.
Alexis is a biology major, just like Rowan.
I'm going to be going into my 4th year.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, hi, I'm Ruby Hernandez. I am Dr. West's new
Grad student.
And
background, yeah.
So this is my first day meeting Dr. West, actually. I taught 2 years over at Clemens High School in Schertz, Texas, taught biology and aquatic science.
And is a friend of one of my former students. So it's all about that networking kind of thing that makes, when you get into your schools, there's opportunity for grants. And so you start with an idea and you start with networking and calling with your friends to get ideas, etc. And usually if you can document that well, you're usually pretty successful at getting grants. I know Jennifer Lickert is very successful. For those of you who want to talk about getting grants, you might want to talk with Jennifer.
Hey, I'm Sandra Browning and I teach at the University of Houston Clear Lake. And I teach math methods and coordinate the student teachers and graduate interns. And I got to create a new course this summer and I loved it. It's on learning and cognition. The doctoral level was so much fun.
We have 3 Sandras in this project. McBride, or excuse me, McLemore goes by Sandy. Well, actually, when Browning came in, I said, okay, we can't have 2 Sandras. She said, okay, I'll go by Sandy. So she was Sandy and I was Sandra. And then McLemore came in and she's Sandy. So we decided we're going to go by last name. So it's Best and Browning and McLemore. So, you know, be careful with how you use Sandra or Sandy because there might be others of us pop up with it. I, of course, Sandra West. Pardon?
She said just like Jennifer is national. I was like, yeah, I don't really pop up with this.
Yeah. I'll give you the history of this grant later on, but we've been doing this for since 2000, actually 2003. So we've had lots of experience with it. I taught public school for 18 years before I moved to the university. I taught in Montessori school where my children went for 8 years, and I've been here at the university for 26 years. So, and I supervise student teachers. I teach a science methods course. I used to teach a general science course that we have for elementary teachers, and also the freshman biology course, which was kind of interesting. 150 students. And so this summer, all we do is mix, but then in the fall, I'll be supervising science and math student teachers, and I'll be also out at your classroom, just like Dr. Browning will be.
I'm Greg Mahalik. Retired 2 years ago from the classroom teaching biology, pre-AP, AP. 29 years, I was ready to do something else. Retired and didn't quit working. But anyway, met Dr. West probably almost 25 years ago, and over that period of time, my last 16 years I was at Canyon High School in New Braunfels and had a lot of student teachers. So trained a lot of student teachers and a lot of biology teachers out there that Dr. West sent through Canyon High School.
So when he retired, I grabbed him and said, quick.
I wasn't even retired yet, and my sister's texting me. When are you retired? What are you doing?
Yeah, you grabbed the good one. Okay, so that's pretty much.
I think I went out.
Oh, yeah, Rochelle, go ahead.
I'm Rochelle. I started this program as a 5th grade teacher. Last year I was a 2nd grade teacher. And this year I'm going to be a 7th grade teacher. So I'm in San Antonio North, well now I'm in the Judson School District. So I may be starting again.
We don't know, huh?
We don't know yet.
All right, so that's kind of an overview of all of us, and we'll get to know each other better, except for, we have some.
I'm Pamela Henderson. I teach Algebra 1 in Austin at Keeling Middle School, and this is my, I've been in here since
the spring,
somewhere around there.
Yeah. And she teams with Kim. So science and the math. Okay, so here's kind of what a typical daily schedule might look like. It's going to be flexible, and since you're teachers, you know how to be flexible. So typically, breakfast from 7:15 to 7:45. Breakfast will shut down at 7:45, so you've got time to get down here, and we begin promptly at 8 o'clock. Excuse me. And we will have what we call the correlated geology and math. So that will be a team teaching that's done by Laura and Browning in here. And then at the end of that, I'll do the debriefings. That's where we'll be talking about strategies. We'll be talking about strategies that you saw, such as questioning, mistakes that we made, because we do that not deliberately, but because we're human, etc. And other things during that debriefing time. And then you'll eat lunch upstairs on 3rd floor again, about 11:45 to about probably about 12:15 rather than 12:30. But at any rate, then Dr. Browning will be doing the math back down here. And then generally, we like to let you have lesson planning time. And sometimes we have you report out, where you are on your lesson, etc. And we'll give you more direction on that. For the first 2 days, though, you will not be doing lesson planning in the afternoon. Today, you will have a smart microscope training at 2 o'clock. David Walling's coming in and to teach those of you who are new, who get your new smart microscope, and for those of you who want some retraining on it, that will also be available for him. And then you'll have about 15 minutes to do what we call the reflections. So they're our reflections. So you tell us some things about today. What you liked, what you didn't like, what you want changed, etc., etc. And we look at that. That's our formative assessment. So we look at that at the end of the day, and we say, okay, what is it that they didn't understand? What needs to be retaught? What needs to have some redirection in some way or the other? So we ask you to be honest. And those of you who are veterans know that we value that honesty. We need that if we're going to improve. And we made lots of changes in the project because of input from teachers. When we first started, we didn't have any lesson planning time the first year. And actually a new teacher said, can we please have lesson planning time because we don't have enough? And we said, okay, because it's our project, we can change it any way that we want to. So that's when we put in the lesson planning time. And you'll go right around the corner here. It's just on that back side, where's the computer room, and you'll go in there and answer those questions on the computer and then print them out, and one of the team will be directing you with that. Rowan, you said you had something?
Today they'll be doing a
TQ reflection.
Oh, yes, okay, TQ, do you have a,
I'll
do you
get
have
the
a?
prompt.
Huh?
I'll get it.
Yeah, those, there are different kinds of evaluations that are done. The reflection that we ask you to do, the daily one, we're the only ones that see it. We use it for formative assessment. Teacher quality from the Higher Ed Coordinating Board funding requires that you do a reflection for them. It's very different. They will ask you the questions like, why did you get into the project? What do you think? What do you hope to gain from it? You know, those kind of generalized questions. We like to give those to you ahead of time so you can think about it. We want you to put in, 8 to 10 sentences. We want you to explain a lot of your thinking because those are very helpful in doing the total program evaluation. Every state project, every project in teacher quality grants has the same reflections that they are answering during their professional development time. And so they'll do a statewide evaluation, which actually goes to the federal level, and because each state has teacher quality funds, and so they will be doing that report back to the federal level to say, here's how the federal funds were spent, and whether or not they were well spent or not is evaluated partially by those reflections. They will also come into some of your classrooms. They will also be doing phone interviews with some of you, not all of you, and so we'll have some more conversation about that later on. In the afternoon, you will do, as we said, lesson planning. Probably on Thursday we'll start that. Today we'll be working on a horizontal alignment between math and science, and I think we put out a lot of conversation about that. But it's important with the new math teach to determine what is not horizontally aligned with science, so that the math is learned by the students in math before they use the math skill in science. There will also be some conversations, probably not today, probably beginning tomorrow, with the streamlining of the science teaks. We have Elizabeth and Ashley and Tanya are on that team. Elementary, Tanya, you're K2, you're 3-5, and you're 6-8, okay? And then we have Donna Campano is also, I think she's on the 3-5. So we'll be having some conversations about that. That actually goes back to the horizontal alignment. Because what we want to do is to look at which teaks are not clear and how they can be clarified, or maybe which teaks might be deleted. Now, here's some expectations. We have a rule, for those of you who are new, that says if you know the answer, you can only ask questions. So what that enables is the math teachers, if they know the math, that they can't answer the math questions, they can only ask, they can answer the question, they can only ask questions of their science colleagues to enable them to understand the math. No talking during instruction. I'm pretty adamant about that. Absolutely no talking. You have paper, you're going to be thinking as a teacher, so you're going to have teacher questions and teacher thoughts. So take down those notes, and when we come to the debriefing, that's when we'll come back to the teacher talk. This is how I would teach it, or how do you teach this or that or the other. Teacher notes, I think all of you have a notebook or something to write in. Some of you came in late and didn't get those, okay? And we also recycle. So no paper, no aluminum or metal in the trash cans. Now they're going to go in the recycle cans. I did notice a problem in here because I saw the plastic recycle, but I didn't see the paper recycle, so we're going to make sure that that's out for us to use. We use wait time format, so if you're not familiar with wait time format, remember that is where the question is asked. The instructor is supposed to wait 3 seconds. Seems like an awfully long time. 1001, 1002, 1003, and then call on a non-volunteer. So if you're not familiar with that, you may feel a little uncomfortable with that, but just to kind of alert you if you would. And then we'll debrief the lesson, as I said, with the teacher talk. Parking, only green and purple. If you get a ticket after we've given you the pass and you didn't park correctly, then you have to pay for it. I already owe the parking director 2 barbecue lunches because I'm asking forgiveness for some parking passes. They're parking illegally, if you would. So I can't owe him any more than that. I've asked him where in Lockhart he'd like for me to take him, but I haven't got an answer for that yet. Okay, so any questions so far? Good? Okay, Laura needs to set up here. Oh, while she's setting up, I have this new laser pointer. Do you notice what color it is? Okay, green. Now, there's good and bad. Green means it's stronger, it's going to go farther. Whenever I'm in a a big room and I'm doing a presentation, it shows up a lot better than the little red ones. But the green ones are extremely dangerous. I mean, they will ruin your eye. I can't snap it there. Just like this. So make sure that if you use a green one or you see a green one, that everybody who's using it knows how hazardous it is. Okay. Anybody need to go to the restroom real quick? Go. Do it now. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
But when they get to, I don't know.
Math. I finally got there, so I'm super excited. This has been a journey. Finally.
She's eating so healthy. It's not like it's, like, I just saw you
Okay, I'm going to attach you at the hip to Alexis. Okay, so you just follow her and ask her questions, so you kind of get pretty clear.
Yeah, I see a lot going on. So I don't want to talk to her while she's setting up.
Yeah, you just follow her and help her out, and you get a pretty good idea of what we do in this.
Okay, sounds
I've never been to how you do This needs to be turned off when we stop. Great. Turn this on and off if you would. So you have to step back there.
Move this.
Yeah.
To break my neck. I haven't met you. I'm Greg.
Hi, Ruby.
All right, nice to meet you. Okay, I'm good now. Got it good. So this is on and off right here?
Yeah.
So on when she starts, then off when she's done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess Northeast was sorry to lose you.
They better be. Yeah, it was, but because like I said, the years I was in, they wouldn't have let me transfer, so I couldn't do second grade here.
can't transfer until.
I think it's like 3 years.
Yeah, that's what Elizabeth ran into.
3 or 5, and then I was like, ah.
Yeah.
So that worked. So it's not that much farther. So.
Yes. Every year you gotta go move it. Did you get a parking pass?
Yes.
To replace one of them? That looks I have her old one. Yeah. Chairs, I can change her. How that number should be. Ma'am, the only problem, math.
You had busted and kids at the same time.
Well, would you like to keep? I'm gonna go with you, so.
Yeah. That's one thing. I had to sign up with Roy. The next year, I said, this is you. He said, he looks like that.
I think it's a bag after that.
What I do.
Message.